Okay, I've been looking into some things about the new Xbox One. Haven't really looked too much into the PS4 or anything, cause I just heard that it might actually be okay. However, the Xbox One, yeah, this is probably gonna be more about used games than anything, cause I got an opinion about used games. For the Xbox One to have to charge someone brand new game for, I don't know, the disc or whatever. Reason why, like, I never buy a used game, like, except unless it's unavailable. Hence why I don't like this idea, and I'm gonna be getting into that in a sec. Used games. The whole idea about it, whenever a new game comes out, like brand new or whatever, and then there's a used game version of it, just buy the new game. It's only $5, right? Like, whenever they compare it to a used game and a new game, whenever it's been out for like only like just a little bit or something like that, it's usually a $5 difference, if that. Um, However, whenever you start getting into games that have been out for a while, they don't like to produce those games anymore. And pretty much, yeah, the whole idea with the used games, in my opinion, used games are good to be there for. What are you doing? Used games are there to be for more, like, if there's not a new game. Like, for example, um, one of the games that I got like about a year ago, I need to continue playing that game. The World Ends with You. They pretty much stopped making those games new, and I was ready to buy a used game and do it online and stuff, and buy it used. But then they all of a sudden came out with a new one, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll get the new one then. But otherwise, if they didn't have a new one, you only have used left. And you're telling me that I have to pay full price for a used game if they don't have any more left because they stopped making them and stuff? Yeah, I don't see the whole benefit about that. Yeah. And then let me get into the subject at hand. Um, Used games. Used games. So you're saying that I gotta be like online to play my game that's used or whatever? I might actually start getting into another subject and crossing crossing going back and forth between them. So I gotta be online to play any type of game on the Xbox One, as they call it. I don't know why they called it a one. It seems like as time goes on, the game companies are getting less and less creative with their names for games. Like, whenever Nintendo started out, they came out with the Nintendo Entertainment System. Then they came out with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which, I mean, it's not very original, but the reason why it was super was because of the upped up graphics in it compared to the Nintendo Entertainment System. Then when you get to Nintendo 64, that's when it's like, well, that just came out of nowhere. I don't know what 64 has to do. I haven't looked into that. Someone's probably going to post in the comments why it was called 64. But either way, Nintendo 64 came out with pretty much 3D graphics for the most part. I mean, sure, the Super Nintendo started having 3D polygons and stuff by the end of its life, Like, if you remember Star Fox has those 3D polygons and stuff, and as well as a few other games like I actually got another game somewhere. It's a car game or something. I can't remember the name of it though. But pretty much you had the blue truck, the yellow car, you had a green motorcycle, I think, and a red speed car, as well as a semi truck. Forgot what the name is called though. If someone posts that in the comments, I'll be like, "Oh my God, yes, that's the name of it." Um, but yeah, the whole what was I going with it? The names. It's like, sure, they had that for the Super Nintendo, but then Nintendo 64 actually pretty much made most of their games 3D, and that was a big leap. However, then all of a sudden, Nintendo comes out with the GameCube, a huge different name altogether. Like it was called the Nintendo GameCube, but most people called it the GameCube. I mean, whenever you refer to the older consoles, you don't call it Super for Super Nintendo or 64 for the 64, the Nintendo 64. You call the GameCube, the Nintendo GameCube, the GameCube. And so that's a whole different name right there. And I mean, same thing with the Game Boy series. They started out with Game Boy, then Game Boy Color, which added color, then Game Boy Advance, which was an advanced version of the games because they had more graphics in it and more color and stuff. But then the DS out of nowhere comes out with the dual screens, and then they add in the 3DS, which 3D. Um, then Wii, which I think everyone knows how everyone took that name, and yeah, but either way, the console's just not being original. Just like PlayStation, they just add a number to it. That's the new console. Um, then the Xbox One. Anyways, we're not talking about names now. We're talking about games. The games. Why do I not like this whole online connection? Like, you have to connect at least one time, 24 hours to keep your game. What happens if you have a blackout and you're bored to death of, like, I've had it where my cable's gone out at the same time as my internet, and only thing you can do is play a game. Oh, but that blackout lasts for a few days or something like that on worst case scenario. Oh, I'll just play my Xbox One. Oh, wait. Crap. I can't play because I'm not connected to the internet. Ah, oh, crap. Do you see what the problem is here with that? And for people that say they haven't confirmed it yet because the Xbox vice president has said we can't tell you those details. First of all, I've had a few, like, I've looked into it, and a few people have said that they have said it a few times now. Second of all, whenever someone tells you, we can't share that information right now. We can't share that information right now. So you're telling me you have information of that you're not going to tell, that you aren't going to, that you're going to have to do the whole online thing at least once every 24 hours to do it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for just telling me that you don't have information on that right now. For a very important detail. You take me as an idiot? Just say no if you don't have any if just say no and it'll be all okay. You can't say no? You don't have any information on that right now? You don't have any information on that right now. So I guess that means you might have information on that. That means yes. So whoever says you don't have that, they haven't released that information, it's pretty freaking obvious that they got information on that if they haven't actually said anything, except they don't have information right now. Okay, so the whole 24-hour thing. You're telling me that if I buy this new Xbox that I don't actually own the game because they got to do a 24-hour checkup where and always have to have the camera on for the Xbox One. The Do you know how much privacy? I would have to put it in my room, right over here, and my bed's right over there. And so you want to look at me sleep at night. Or you want to get hacked, maybe? Because I'm pretty sure, I know Sony's been hacked before, but Microsoft, I don't remember too much for that. But either way, if you get hacked and people can see me through a camera while I'm sleeping, that's an invasion of privacy right there. And could form a lawsuit on Microsoft's behalf because it's their product that caused that to happen because they decided to make it 24 hours. So yeah. I don't see how connecting 24 hours with the system and the Kinect is a great idea. I don't even want Microsoft looking at me sleeping at night. That's still an invasion of personal privacy. And no, I'm not putting it in my living room because I wouldn't put it in my living room because I'd want to do recordings of it and stuff. And I'm not going in the living room to record stuff. My room is my recording space. And so, no, it's not going to happen. Now, I think this might be the final thing. I might have one other thing to talk about. The whole 24-hour game thing. You got to connect to the online servers to get access to the game. Okay. What about when you come out with your next console, and then a few years after that, you decide to close those servers? And I mean, are you going to patch those? Are you going to patch those your console to be able to play those games all the time? Because I mean, you have to install the disc one time, and once you install it, it pretty much, yeah. I think you all might see where this is going. So you're saying if the servers are down, like, let's just go like 10 years into the future, something like that, or more, and they got their new console out, and they're about to close the servers, and so you're saying that once your servers are, like, this is my personal take on the whole used game thing. If their servers are closed and the game is supposed to be connected at least once every 24 hours, what happens when the servers are closed? And would that render your Xbox One useless to play because you can't connect to the servers anymore because the servers are closed? And does that mean that all games on the Xbox One are unplayable? Because, I mean, look at this. Look at this. You see this? This is a Super Nintendo cartridge right here. Link to the past. This is what makes me miss the old days a little bit. You can just put it in and take off with the game, and no patching or anything required. And I mean, if it's game breaking, that's just how they made it. I mean, pretty much same thing with speed running. Speed running games, it was a trick for speedrunners to do. So I mean, if it's like game breaking, it's just their fault. They should have tested their bugs better. And yeah, but no, they got a patch every time. Well, this game right here, this game is still playable today on my Super Nintendo that I got back when I was like what, 4 years old? 1993, 1994. Um, Meanwhile, the Xbox One, which once it goes out of commission and you can't play 24 hours anymore. I mean, you can't connect 24 hours anymore because their servers are down, just like how they closed down Halo 2's servers after a few years of being uh, of once the Xbox 360 came out and the Halo games started coming more and stuff like that. Those servers went out of commission, so you know what's going to happen for the Xbox One eventually. So let's just take a look at this. If the Xbox One servers go offline and you're not be able to play anymore, yet I can still play this from way back when, and this is, well, it's like outdated, but at the same time, it's a classic. Um, yeah, there's something wrong with that. You're saying I can't play a newer game because the servers are down for good. And yet I can play an older game because they didn't have any online only stuff that you have to connect 24 hours for. So what's my point? Get rid of 24-hour crap and just there's always going to be a hacker, and it seems like the only way that you would be able to play the older games is if a hacker hacked the system, because I'm pretty sure once you're into your new system and just once you're into the new system, you're going to say screw the old system. We're not going to like we want you all to play the new games. So we're just going to shut all the old games down. So long, history. Yeah. So then and that's when Microsoft goes out of business because they think they're all that, but then or that's when Microsoft's game corporation, not the company itself that sells computers and all that, but the game corporation goes out of business, and yeah. Actually, no. Xbox, keep doing it. Make all the games, screw all the history and stuff like that, so you all go out of business, and then Rare will come back to Nintendo maybe, and all the games that were exclusive to Microsoft and stuff can go onto one of the other consoles. Yeah, do your job of screwing gamers over and screw those military guys that fight for our country because they don't have a connection to online or anything, so they can't play their single player games or anything like that. And yeah,